On the menu today is a citrus honey mustard glazed pork tenderloin paired up with some broccoli, some asparagus, and oven roasted potatoes. Today, we're gonna make a honey mustard citrus infused pork tenderloin. I'm gonna use 1 cup of orange juice, roughly half a teaspoon of garlic powder. You can use fresh garlic if you like. About half a teaspoon of salt, 2 grinds of black pepper for seasoning, about 2.5 tablespoons of honey for sweetness. You can use brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of mustard. To the mixture, I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. To the mixture, a zest of lime. You can use lemon and oranges as well. Whisk them all together. Pour the marinade over the pork. Let it sit overnight. Reserve some marinade on the side to be drizzled over the pork and baste it during grilling. The same marinade could be used on shrimp, chicken as well. With that, I'm gonna serve some potatoes, some roasted potatoes. First, I'm gonna salt the water of the to bring that to a boil. Then I have quarter up the potatoes. I'm gonna parboil it. I don't want to cook it all the way. I just want to parboil, so that way it's gonna speed up the cooking process later on. I'm gonna drop it in the boiling water for about 4 minutes or so. All right, now that I have parboiled the potatoes, I'm gonna drain it. Let's get some more water drained out of there. Today I'm going to be serving the potatoes along with the asparagus. Now to check the asparagus, right, it's simple. You just bend it and it tells you exactly where it's going to break off. That's how you know that's a young and then tender side on the tips. That's going to go and that's a nice and tender part that you're going to eat. Okay, just like that. Asparagus is going to be grilled along with the pork. I'm just going to season it with a little oil. That way it doesn't stick to the grill. And just a little touch of the garlic salt on it to add some flavor. I'm going to finish this off later. You can finish it off with some feta cheese, some crumbled bacon on there as a nice little dish on the side. All right, now that the water has drained out of the potatoes, I'm gonna put it into a mixing bowl, a pan, a pot, whatever you have lying around to help kind of mix things up. In it, about 2 tablespoons of oil. Drizzle that around. Some garlic salt. About half a teaspoon of that. I have some Chicago steak seasoning here. About a teaspoon of that, and then some paprika, a couple of shakes. Okay, now I'm gonna mix them all up. That way it's nice and coated. I'm gonna pop this on the baking sheets in an oven at 450 degrees, roasting it for about 20 to 25 minutes to get the outside, get the coating nice and golden brown, and a nice crust on the potato. On a non-stick aluminum foil, those Reynolds non-stick aluminum foil, I'm gonna lay this down and I'm gonna pop it in the oven. I'm gonna try and I'm getting the inside up and the skin side down, so then that way I will get more crust, right, on the potato, so it's gonna look nice and golden brown when it's finished. The oven's set up for 450. It's warming its way up, but I'm just gonna go ahead and dump that in there to get that situated at the top rack. After about 15 minutes in the oven, I can see there's some golden, right, some golden spots on the potatoes. I'm gonna let it cook for about 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna take it out. Because I parboiled the potatoes earlier, the cooking process is a lot faster in the oven. And so as you can see, it's nice golden brown. I'm taking it out, let it cool down a little bit before I serve it with the broccoli, asparagus, and the grilled pork later. Now, along with the asparagus, I'm gonna serve some butter broccoli with my meal today. So in a quart pan, I'm gonna have some water and 1 teaspoon of some chicken bouillon. I'm gonna wait for it to boil. I'm gonna drop in the broccoli to quickly steam that up and bring it to a al dente finish. Now that my seasoned water is boiling, I'm gonna drop in the broccoli for about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'm gonna check on the broccoli. I don't want my broccoli to be mushy. I want it to have some texture to it. Not hard, but a little soft and tender when I bite into it. So I'm gonna check on the broccoli right now. After I drain the broccoli out from the water, I'm gonna return it right back to the pan with the power off. Back into the pan, still using the residual heat on the stove. I'm gonna drop in 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just gonna gently stir that around, shake it around so that way the butter coats the broccoli. And it's a little grain of salt, and I'm ready to go. So right now it's about to grill the pork. Before I grill the pork, I actually took out the meat and set it on the counter for about an hour because I want to bring it to closer to room temperature. And the reason why you want to do that with all your meat before you cook it is because 1, it's shortened the cooking time, and 2, right, it cook a bit more uniformly, so then that way you don't get the outside is hot and the inside is still cold. So now that the grill I'm bringing it up to about 450 degrees. I have some oil that I dabbed on the paper towel. I'm gonna rub that on the grate to help with the non-sticking process and easy cleanup later. You can see that the oil is nice and hot. Okay, now the pork is gonna go on. And I'm looking for that sear right off the bat. All right, let me know that the grill is nice and hot. That way it has a nice grill mark on it. Then I have the marinade, which I'm gonna continuously baste over the pork to add more flavor to it as it's cooking. Then I'm gonna toss on the asparagus. Just looking for some char to it. I want it to be kind of fork tender when it's done. And then the tip will tell me when it's charred to take it out. Close the lid. Let it do its cooking process. Because each time when you open up the grill, the heat goes away. So you want to be able to let the lid down so that way the cooking, the temperature stay consistent. All right, now it's time to check on the pork. It's about 2 minutes. Have kind of transpire, you can see the nice grill mark on it. So I'm gonna rotate it to the other side. That way to get all the grill marks nice around. And I'm gonna base on some more marinade on there. That way it's just adding more and more flavor as it cooks. This size of this cut should take about 6 minutes or so. So then now, right, has some more color in it. I'm gonna rotate it to the next step.
How much time has gone by?
About a minute and a half have gone by. Because I want the center to be a little bit like medium. I don't want to overcook the pork. So another layer of marinade base on it. The asparagus could use a bit more time to cook, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Now, as you can see, we have another. Now it's gonna be the last rotation to get all of that beautiful marbling around. Okay, I say another minute or so, and the pork is gonna be nice and medium on the interior. Another layer of basting go right on it. It's gonna be awesome. The asparagus, on the other hand, looks about done. Notice I got a little tip in here. I like my vegetable to have a little bite to it, a little al dente. I don't want it to be mushy. I hate mushy vegetables. So I'm gonna have it's tender, but it also has a little texture to it. So the asparagus is all done. The pork, I'm gonna let it close here. I'm gonna finish that off. Now, I'm gonna check on the doneness of the pork. Now, here's a little trick for the doneness, right? If you put your thumb and your index together and you press this little meat right here, right? This is about medium rare. Medium, medium well, well done. Notice how there's no give on that. So this right here, right? Notice how it give me a little bounce back? That's about medium rare. That's what I want. So that way when the pork is done, right, I'm gonna let it rest a good 5 minutes. That way the juice is just gonna resettle inside. But look at all that beautiful marbling. I'm gonna let the grill keep on cooking down, so that way I can then brush that off and easy to clean up later. All right, while I let the pork rest, I'm gonna take a hot pan, medium heat, right? And I'm gonna take the other part of the marinade that I set aside before. I'm gonna pour it into the pan. I'm gonna let it reduce down about half of the volume, so that way the pork, when I'm gonna drizzle that over it later on, is gonna be nice and delicious. So I'll come back and I'll show you what the reason why I am choosing to reduce the marinade that wasn't part of with the meat before is because when you marinate it with the meat, when you reduce that down, it has all of the blood that came from the meat. Here, this marinade is nice and clean. It doesn't have any of that stuff, so the sauce is smoother, but the flavor of the marinade really shines through at the end.
Did you throw away the marinade you used on the meat?
Yes, I just discard the marinade that was on the meat, so that way I just dealing with the marinade that I had set aside on a separate container. Right now, it looks like it's ready to go.
How do you know?
Oh, because I can see that when I spoon it, right, it's a little bit runny still, right, but I can reduce that even further, but I'm okay with a little thin sauce on this one, because I don't want to have too pungent of the flavor. So now, come on over here, I'm gonna drizzle this right over the pork, so that way it's nice and coating on there. Then I take some potatoes that I have roasted already. Put that right in there. Some broccoli that I have steamed up with some chicken bouillon, and there we go.